what is it that you want to manifest? What does that dream life look like in 2026? So here's a question I like to ask my clients. If you could wave a magic wand and have the life or business that you desire, what would that look like? Welcome to the Chingona Revolution podcast, where we will bring out your inner badass Latina, overcome self-doubt, help you gain clarity, and pave your own path, all while leading with courage. I am your host, Latina coach and speaker, Erica Cruz. Welcome to your 2026 planning guide. If you have made ideal plans in the past and maybe you stuck with them for the first few weeks, maybe the first month, maybe the first couple of months, but then things fell through, then this episode is going to help you with sustainable change so that you can manifest the dream life that you envision for yourself for 2026. I am going to walk you through my manifestation framework, the BFF method, and we are going to use it to help you plan for your goals in 2026. So here's what I want you to know. Manifestation is actually not about time. It's about alignment. It's about becoming the version of you who already has what they want. And sometimes becoming that takes time. So it's not that your manifestations are a year away or 2 years away or 5 years away. And I'm sure you have seen this happen in your life where the moment you kind of become more in alignment, the moment you stop desperately needing this thing, everything falls into place and it happens way faster than you think. Yes, maybe it was delayed, but when it happens a lot faster than you anticipated. And that's what happened for me with my business. I was pushing and hustling and trying to create a business and I was trying to force it. And it wasn't until 2020 when I finally kind of just let go and I started having fun with creating content and becoming the version of myself who was comfortable building her personal brand. And I was doing it for the sake of building my personal brand. And then my coaching business came out of it. And it's happened with so many things in my personal life as well. And I'm sure you can think of a few too. And so look, I've been talking about this over the last few weeks, and the end of the year can really bring up pressure. It can bring up goals that are unmet. It brings up a lot of shoulds, this feeling like we're falling behind. And I mean, you might look at me and think I have the most ideal life, but there's definitely moments in which I feel like I'm falling behind, maybe not necessarily business-wise, but if I've learned anything from coaching over 300 women, it's that nobody has their life put together in all areas of their life. If you see somebody totally thriving in their career, I guarantee you they feel some type of lack or desire maybe in their love life or maybe in their family life, or maybe they want to move somewhere and that hasn't happened yet. They're experiencing roadblocks in other areas. Or let's say that you see somebody who just got engaged. Maybe like in the relationship department, everything is going well, but maybe in the career department or in the business department, they're really struggling and they don't know what they want to focus on yet. So it's very normal to feel, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm behind, and to look to other people and assume that they have their life together. But trust me, again, after coaching this many women, I can tell you that nobody has their life together in every area of their life. But this podcast episode is going to help you feel a lot more at ease, and it's going to help you become the version of you who's ready to attract what it is that you want. So let me also just say that we don't manifest the things that we want. And it's actually impossible, because if we are feeling, oh my gosh, I need this relationship, I need this business, I need this job in order to feel fulfilled, then we, from an alignment perspective, are very out of alignment. We are in lack, and we can't manifest the things that we feel separate from, because we feel like we need this thing and we're not in the same energy as that thing that we want to create. And stick with me if this is kind of going over your head. I'm going to explain this a little bit more. But the point that I'm looking to make is that we don't manifest what we want. We manifest who we are and who we are being. And if you are being somebody who doesn't have this job and you're so focused on not having the thing you want, then you aren't that person. You're the person who doesn't have it. And it's hard for that to come to you when you're not in alignment. So again, manifestation is not even about time. It's about alignment. And sometimes becoming in alignment takes us a little bit of time, but this podcast episode will help you with that. And a simple way that I help my clients step into alignment, and I help myself, is through the BFF method, which is my manifestation framework. And it's not just a cute little formula, right? Because it's like, oh, this is your BFF. I named it that because it's easy to remember, but it's really a formula for becoming the person who already has what she wants, which is the fastest way of manifesting what you want. So the B stands for belief. And I've actually done an episode on the BFF method, but today we're doing it specifically around manifesting your life for 2026 and planning for 2026. So the first B, or the B, is belief. And what it is, it's the belief that you are worthy of what you want and that you are capable of it. If you do not believe you are worthy of the thing that you want to manifest, then your energy does not match the dream that you are chasing. So this would be a time when, if you are not in your vehicle, if you are not moving, if you are not driving, I invite you to bring out your journal, your notes app, and I really want you to reflect on this. Do I truly believe that I am worthy of this thing that I want? I want the dream relationship. Do I feel worthy of that? I want the pay raise. Do I feel worthy of it? Do I feel like I'm capable of doing it? You want that promotion? Do you think you're capable of doing that job? And let me give you some reflection questions that you can journal on. Do I truly believe that I can have this? Why or why not? And what belief do I need to release so that I can step into the version of myself who already has this? And go ahead and pause the episode, take the time that you need to reflect. And here's what I want you to know. Like, belief isn't thinking that it's going to be easy. For example, I talked about the dream job. It's not about thinking it's easy, but it's knowing that you can do it anyway. Knowing that you're capable of figuring it out. Not that it's going to be a walk in the park, but that you are an intelligent person who can get this done. So what is it that you want to manifest? What does that dream life look like in 2026? So here's a question I like to ask my clients. If you could wave a magic wand and have the life or business that you desire, what would that look like? So take a moment to reflect on that. And don't limit yourself. Nobody else is going to see this but you. But what is it that you are looking to manifest into your life? Is it a healthier life? Is it a new job? Is it a relationship? What are all the things that you're looking to call in? And then I would take yourself through the BFF method for each of those manifestations. So this could be like an all-day project if you really wanted to. But if you take every desired manifestation through the BFF method, you are going to have a very clear plan about what needs to happen at the end. So for me, I'll use myself as an example because I think you all appreciate when I do. So the coaching industry has kind of been up and down, and I would say 2024, 2025 have been some of the slowest times for coaching. And it's because of a lot of different factors, right? There's changes in government and a lot of fear around our community. There's also the economy has shifted. Some people have been let go. The rise of AI has caused a lot of layoffs. I mean, there's so many reasons as to why the coaching industry has totally shifted. There's also been some bad apples in the coaching industry. Some people have been burned by programs and they don't necessarily trust. So people are still investing in coaching, but it has changed. It's evolved. And so one of my manifestations for this coming year is to get back to where my coaching business was in around 2022, 2023, which was probably doing double the amount. And the reason, so I'm going to take myself through the BFF method. I'll still guide you through it for yours, but I think it makes sense if I show myself as an example. So let me come up with like a concrete goal. So I would like to have about $40,000 months and on average in the next year. That's my goal. And then, so I get to ask myself, let's go through the first step of the BFF method, which is believe. Do I believe I'm worthy? I do believe I am worthy, but I also believe there are some subconscious beliefs that say, oh, it maybe needs to be more difficult, or why do I get to make so much money if my mom is still cleaning houses, right? These are all things that I'm aware that I need to work through. And then do I think I'm capable? I know I'm capable, but I do believe that it's going to be a lot more work. And I feel like I don't want to live my life just working. I'm trying to balance it out, but it probably doesn't. It probably is going to take the same amount of effort. This is just an inherited belief that I have. So, do I truly believe I can have this? I do believe I can have it, but I have some limitations. So see, I don't truly believe that I can have it because I wouldn't say that I have some limitations. So this is something that I get to work through. Okay, why do I not truly believe that I can have this? Because I believe in order to have this, it's going to require 2x the effort, and it's going to require that I neglect every other area of my life and just work the entire time. But is that actually true? Well, no, it's not, because I have evidence of it being different. I've had an average of about $40,000 months, and it was actually really fun, and I was very much in alignment. So it goes to show that being in alignment actually does work. Okay, so what belief do I need to release? I need to release the belief that in order to have $40,000 months, it's going to take over my life. I need to release the belief that it's going to be very difficult. I need to release the belief that by me getting ahead, I'm doing a disservice to my mom because she's not making this type of money. But what I can tell myself is the faster I make consistent income, or honestly, entrepreneurship is not about consistent income, but an average of about $40,000 months, my mom's life would be so much easier as well. And she would be way closer to retirement. So again, remember I said belief isn't thinking it's easy. It's knowing that you can do it anyway. So even though I know there will be challenges, I know it's possible. So just like I kind of took myself through that, I invite you to do the same. And you may have to go back to some of those beliefs. Like if you're hesitating, really ask yourself, like, why do I not fully believe that I can have this? Okay, let's move on to the next step of the BFF method. And that is F, forget reality. So the thing is that reality is not fixed. Reality isn't actually real. Reality is old news. I want you to think about manifestation as planting a seed. And when you plant that seed, the plant doesn't grow, the fruit doesn't bear that same day. It's going to take a moment. And reality is showing us old seeds that have already been planted. Reality pretty much tells you what was, not what's possible, and not what's coming. So your current reality is just a reflection of this old news. I've also heard it described as an echo. So your reality is an echo of the past kind of thoughts, of the past beliefs, of the past actions. So your reality is made up of your vibe, okay? And your vibe, or your vibration, I like the word vibe, is made up of the thoughts that you think, the feelings that you feel, and the actions that you take or that you don't take. If your vibe is stuck in old reality, then you're going to keep creating more of the same thing. What I mean is, let's say that you planted seeds in the past of lack, of inaction, of feeling shame, of feeling not good enough. And your reality is reflecting that to you right now. And you keep staying in that same vibe, and you're like, see, nothing's happening. So this isn't going to work for me. It's not possible. Well, you're just in this cycle of creating more of the same. Let's say that you want to manifest a dream job, and you go and apply for a job and it doesn't work out. And you're like, see, that didn't work out, so I'm not going to apply to any more jobs. Well, the lack of applying to more jobs means you keep creating the same reality. This is the hardest step. It's easy for me to describe it right now, but trust me, even I get stuck in what is. But if you can learn to forget reality, you will have such a big advantage. It's almost how on social media, a big kind of thing we've been hearing lately is like, be delulu. This is what it means. You have to be delusional. We cannot be focused on reality because reality is old freaking news. And it's so hard for us to do this as humans because we are relying on like, oh, but look, this is what I can see. This is like, I'm looking at my bank account and it doesn't have the funds that I want. But if we keep focused on this is my bank account and it doesn't have the funds I want, then we're not going to create a different reality for us because we're so focused on that one. I'm trying to describe this in different ways so that it lands for you. But if this is the only step that you take away from this podcast episode, then that is a win. What I am saying is that what you're looking at in your life right now is already a reflection of the past. And if you keep reacting to that reflection, then you're going to keep creating more of what was, because that's what you're responding to. So remember, your reality is made up of your vibe, and your vibe is made up of of the thoughts that you think, the actions that you take or you don't take, and how you feel. And if you're looking at what currently is in your life and you're letting that dictate your vibe, you're only creating more of what is. Let's use money. Money's a good example. Let's say that maybe you got into debt, and like that's already happened, right? The past is the past. And you are now thinking that you're really bad with money. You're ashamed of your debt. You are not even wanting to look at your bank account, right? That's inaction. That vibe is what got you into debt. But if you keep staying in that vibe, you're going to stay in debt. Something needs to change in order for your reality to change. And what is it that needs to change? How you think, how you feel, and the actions you take or don't take. So I want you to look at your current situation, and I want you to challenge how you are currently obsessing over reality, as well as what your vibe needs to be in order to change that reality. Because the more we feed reality with our attention, the more we're creating more of that. Amiga, I hope you're enjoying the show. We are going to get right back to today's episode, but I just had to drop in and check with you. How are you feeling? How are things going? If you find yourself frustrated or maybe shaming yourself because you have not taken the action that you wanted to take, maybe you are just tired of starting and stopping or overthinking or worrying about what your coworkers are going to think about you or your family members are going to think about you if you finally start that project that you've been wanting to start. I just want you to know that I see you. I feel you. I overthought starting my Instagram page for 2 years before I actually started it. So I get it. I totally understand. And if you find yourself in this position where you know that you want to make 2024 your year and you're ready to stop procrastinating and start taking action, then I invite you to Courage Driven Latina. Courage Driven Latina is my signature program where you will legit change your life in 90 days, because we are going to help you take action on a courage project in 90 days. I also recently introduced the Courage Project Paths, which I'm so excited about. So you essentially get to pick the path that you want to work on, and you can work on more than one path because the program is now 12 months, right? But we recommend one path at a time. And I'm so excited about these paths because we have a confidence courage project path. So if you want to speak up in your relationships or maybe speak up at work, this would be the perfect path for you. Or if you just want to establish more self-trust. The second path we have is the content creation courage project path. So this is perfect for you if you want to create an Instagram page, a TikTok account, or perhaps you are ready to launch your own podcast. We even have a whole podcast course inside of Courage Driven Latina. The third path is the career courage project path. So if you know that you want to be at the director level or the VP level, or maybe you're ready to change your job to a different job, then this would be the perfect path for you. Maybe you're like, you know what, entrepreneurship is cool, but it's not really for me. I really want to be a boss ass mommy. Then this is going to be the path for you. And last but not least, we have the Chingona CEO path. So if you know that you want to be an entrepreneur and you know you want to start your business, whether it's a coaching business or a physical business, if you want to sell a product, then this is the perfect path for you. Again, because this program is now 12 months, you can work on more than one path. Join the waitlist for Courage Driven Latina by going to the link down below in the show notes, because when you join the waitlist, you are going to be the first to know when we open doors, and you may even get some early access. So ensure that you join the waitlist. I cannot wait to work with you. We have some incredible women in this program, and the fact that it's now a year long, we've already seen so much transformation. I can't wait to work with you. Let's get back to the show, and don't forget to join the waitlist. So I want you to start feeding the internal version of you who already has this. Like, how would the version of you who already has this think? How would they feel? How would they act? So let's take myself through an example, and then I'll give you some things to kind of reflect on for you. So my current reality, I can look at my profit and loss statements and I see that on average, I'm at like, I don't know, 20 or 25K, which for you all listening, that sounds like, oh my gosh, why do you want $40,000? But when you have expenses, that's not money I take home. That's not my profit, right? I have an operations manager, I have a podcast producer, I have a virtual assistant, and they all play vital roles in my business. And it's what supports me with not being in my business 24/7. And then I also have to pay for things like where we host the podcast, right? The software where I record the podcast. We also pay for Kajabi, which is my learning management system where all my courses are hosted. And then there's a lot of expenses you don't probably realize that go into a business. So much so that there's been many months over the last couple of years where we don't make any profit. In other words, the business is spending more than the business is making because we didn't make as many sales that month, but we still have these expenses. So my current goal is to raise my profit. So just explaining that for context. So I'm looking at this reality and I'm seeing, okay, sometimes we make profit, sometimes we don't make profit. If I know that I want to buy a house, then the profit needs to go up because as an entrepreneur, because when you have a W-2, when you work for somebody and you are looking to get a mortgage, they look at that W-2 as steady income. But when you're an entrepreneur, you have to provide the last 3 years of your profit and loss statements, like how much your business made and how much it spent. And if my profit is low, then that means I don't qualify for the mortgage that I want to qualify for. And one of the things I'm looking to diversify the way that I make investments right now, it's mostly in the stock market. I'm giving you all a whole context for my goal here. And if my goal is to buy a house in the coming year, then that means my profit needs to be higher. I need to pay myself more. And for the first 6 months of the year, I didn't even pay myself. So, and I don't share this information to scare you about entrepreneurship. My business has been around for 5 years. A 5-year-old business has more expenses than a brand new business. Obviously, it's sustainable enough to allow me to do this full time, but it's not where I would want it to be. So I can look at the last 2 years and say, okay, this is it. I'm not going to make this much profit. This is just what it is. The way that I would think would be the coaching industry has shifted. It's never really going to be profitable anymore. I can think I'm not really capable. I'm not good at selling. I'm not good at marketing. People don't care about my programs anymore. I mean, I could tell myself all those stories. And sometimes when I look at my profit and loss statements, those are some of the things that can come up. Then the way that I feel is the feeling of lack, the feeling of lack of options, like money lack, but also lack of opportunity. The other feelings that can come up, or maybe the feelings of shame, like, oh man, if I was able to do this in the past, why can't I do it now? And then the action becomes just kind of doing more of what's in the comfort zone instead of thinking of creative ideas. So notice that vibe of how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and how I'm acting is keeping me in my old reality, and it's been reproducing the same results. So if I'm going to stop feeding my reality with my attention, then that means I need to start identifying the version of me for the future and act as that person. So the way I'm going to do that is, how would the version of me who's already making $40,000 a month in my business on average, how would that version of me think? Okay, well, she would be thinking, one, my programs change lives. I've seen it over and over again. She'd also be thinking, I've already done this in the past. Just because it shifted a little bit, I know I'm capable. I know it doesn't have to be, I know it might not be the easiest thing, but I know that I'm capable of doing it. I also know it's not going to take me a ton of time, because the last time I did this, it didn't take me a ton of time. What kind of actions would I start taking? I would probably not just keep doing the same thing over and over. I'd probably look at, and doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is literally the definition of insanity. So I would start acting in a different way. I would start being more creative with my marketing. I would start thinking outside of the box. I would not sit in inaction. If I was standing in inaction, I would probably journal to work through it. I would meditate more. I would go on walks, because these are all things that have supported me in the past. I would start feeling like the version of me who already has this. So how would the version of me who's making consistent $40,000 think on a day-to-day basis? Well, she would make her bed. She would ensure that she's eating well. She would feel abundant. She would feel abundant. And that doesn't mean going to go swipe my credit card for a bunch of different things, but it does mean feeling giving, feeling abundant, going on Instagram Live, doing more valuable podcast episodes like this one right here. That is how she would feel. So now let's take you through the forget reality stage. I want you to look at what your current reality is for whatever the manifestation is. So pick one. And now look at your current reality. And now I want you to think of, okay, how is it that you are thinking when you think of this reality? And go ahead and pause so you can reflect. How are you acting when you think of this current reality? How are you feeling when you think of this current reality? And now let's think of the version of you who has this, and how would that version of you think? Go ahead and pause so you can reflect. How would you act? And if you're not writing this down, let's say you're in the car, at least pause the episode and think about this, at least in your mind. Or if you're by yourself, say it out loud. How would the version of you who already has this feel? And do you see how different the way you think is, the way you act is, and the way that you're feeling is? How different those two versions are, the version that's focused on reality versus on the version who already has it manifested. And what we're really getting at here is a little bit of like quantum, which we're not really going to get into the specifics of that. But what I do want you to know is that where your attention goes, energy flows. And science has proved this over and over. So what we're doing here is we're not giving your energy to the reality you no longer want to create. We're now giving your energy to the reality you do want to create. So I want you to pay attention to the future version of you, not the old version of you. We're creating something new here, not old. So the old version of you, or the version that's responding to the reality you don't want, those are all things that you need to let go of, right? So like, what habits are you doing? What thoughts need to be recycled? That's all you have to let go of the old version of you in order to become the new version of you. The last step in the BFF method is focus. Again, remember, where your attention goes, energy flows. So the focus is really important. So now I want you to ask yourself, what do I want? Like, what is it exactly that I want? So for me, it's an average of about $40,000 months. And why do you want it? So I want an average of about $40,000 months so that I can not worry about my business expenses, so that I can actually pay myself consistently instead of not paying myself, so that I can make an investment in real estate and start creating generational wealth and have different ways of diversifying my income. And last but not least, support my mom, who's at retirement age and recently broke her knee and she's still cleaning houses. I would love to be able to support her, or maybe employ her so she can help me with things in my business that aren't super labor intensive. I also would love to be able to move out. Like, I've talked about this pretty consistently, but when I started my business, I moved back into my mom's house, and I cover her mortgage, which is great. It's not like I'm living there for free. And even if I was, right, like, if you can accept the help from the people around you, no shame in that whatsoever. But I really do crave my own space. I mean, I lived alone from the moment I was 18 and moved back when I was 30. So I have definitely tasted what it's like to have your own sacred space. And I really, really miss that. And I'm looking forward to that. So that's my big why behind it. It's not just, I want this because I want to like flaunt money. And, if that's your why, then let that be your why. But I find that if we are using manifestation principles, it usually has to be for the greater good. It has to be for a good cause. So me wanting $40,000 months is not even being greedy. It's literally running a sustainable business and being able to pay myself and supporting the people that I care about. Like, that's a really big why for me. And I stand by that. And it's like such a purpose-driven manifestation. There's purpose behind the manifestation. And whenever something is purpose driven or mission driven, you're less likely to give up when you hit obstacles, because guess what, friends? We are going to hit obstacles. So now ask yourself, what is it that you want and why is it that you want it? And go ahead and pause and really reflect on that. And then now I want you to ask yourself, I jumped ahead on the previous step. What does the version of you who already has it think? What does she feel like and what does she act like? We already kind of went through that, but that's where I want you to focus. So this last step is all about focusing. And here's what I want you to ask yourself to deepen this a little bit more. How does this version of you start her day? What is her internal dialogue? What choices does she make differently? How does she react to certain things that maybe trigger her? How does she react differently? And how does she handle setbacks? Because focus isn't about starting at the end goal until it happens. It's about becoming somebody whose life already includes it. Because remember, it's all about alignment. It really is all about alignment. So for me, I already told you what I want and why I want it and how I need to show up in order to have that. So to quickly summarize what we've gone through, the BFF method is belief. Do you believe you're worthy, you're capable, and that it's possible for you? And if not, work through that, because you have to believe. The second is forget reality. Forget reality is all about how what you're currently seeing right now is old news. And if you keep reacting to that old news, you're going to create more of that. How is it that you need to think, act, and feel? And then focus on that. So the third point is focus. Focus on what you want. Be really clear about what you want. Be clear about why you want it. And even if it seems like it's something superficial, like let's say you want a bag, well, what is it that you really want from that bag? Is it the feeling it's going to give you? Is it that it's a material manifestation of the hard work and you've grown up believing that you couldn't have nice things? So having this designer bag is you healing generational trauma around not feeling worthy of good things, right? Like that can even be purpose driven. So really get behind the deep why behind it. And then focus on becoming the version of you who already has this thing. Because again, people think that manifestation takes time, but in reality, manifestation takes alignment. You can take the next 12 months without shifting beliefs and getting the same results, right? You can be thinking the same, taking the same action. You could keep focusing on what is, and you're going to end up in this with the same results at the end of the year. Or you can shift the way that you are thinking. You can shift your vibe and your focus. And what you will do is you will collapse time, because energy moves so much faster than the clock. You can allow yourself to get in alignment. And if you follow the BFF method, you will be in alignment. And of course, it won't be like a walk in the park. Overcoming some of those difficult beliefs is challenging. You're essentially doing shadow work here, but that's what's required in order to get into alignment. And here's like a simple metaphor I want to leave you with. So if time is the calendar, alignment is the map, right? Alignment is what's going to show you how to get there. People are so focused on like the how and the when, but the when can be so quick and it can be so much faster than you think when you're when you are in alignment. That's why it is so important for you to focus on what you want and why you want it, and becoming the version of yourself who already has it. That is the fastest way to get there. The how is answered along the way. The how begins to unveil itself. It will show itself to you as soon as you start taking steps forward. Let me leave you with some practical mini tools. And if you've taken anything away from this podcast episode, I want to know. Please share it on your socials. Tag me. I'm at the Erica Cruz. That's Erica with a K on Instagram, as well as TikTok. And then we also have a Chingonat Revolution Instagram page. If you're not already following us there, be sure that you follow us. Here are some of the practical kind of mini tools, and it follows the BFF method. So the first is belief check. Write what beliefs you are carrying that keep you from what you want. So go ahead and write that, and then replace it with what belief feels true for the 2026 version of me. So this is like a quick summary, right? If you just want to write it somewhere that you can like constantly look back at so you can reflect on, this would be what I would recommend. Next is reality reset. Notice where you are reinforcing old reality. like I'm behind or I need more time. And what I want you to do instead is I want you to pause and I want you to shift your attention. What if my dream life is already possible right now? What does that reality look like and how can I focus on that? And then last but not least, focus habit. So I want you to write in your journal, who am I becoming? And then I want you to answer that question with like the thoughts, the actions, and the feelings. So like, who am I? What version of me already has this? And then how do they think? How do they act? And how do they feel? Okay, y'all, happy New Year. This is coming out right before the New Year. I hope you have had a wonderful holiday season. And I do want to encourage you to, if you enjoy this podcast episode, you'll probably enjoy my free custom bot. I made a custom bot all about manifesting your marca, and it's all about building your personal brand and using manifestation principles. So it's very much in alignment with the podcast episode that I shared with you all today. It's going to help you get clear on who it is that you're becoming, not just what it is that you want. And it gives you very practical tools as well, like what social platform I recommend for you building your personal brand. It gives you content pillars. It also helps you identify what stage of personal branding you're currently in. So I would love for you to download that. It's completely free. And I'll have the link for that down below. If you want to work with me on your personal brand, I do have a personal branding intensive. We'll leave more info about that down below in the show notes as well. But I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode about the BFF method. Happy 2026, y'all, and I will see you next year. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Make sure to visit theericacruz.com. That's Erica with a K, where you can subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. You can help this podcast grow by supporting me with an Apple Podcast rate and review. If you took anything away from this episode, I invite you to take a screenshot and share it on social media so that your favorite badass Latinas can also check it out. Be sure to tag me at the Erica Cruz. That's Erica with a K, because you know I want to see it. If you're ready to join the revolution and be a part of the Courage Driven Latina community, visit couragedrivenlatina.com to get more information and join the waitlist. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.